Hello everybody and welcome back to FYI. So today I'm going to be talking about 10 things to do while still young. If there's one thing I can tell you about age is the fact that age is nothing but a number. Age, the concept behind age is extremely subjective. For instance, somebody could be 52 and still call himself a very young person. You get what I mean? Another person could be 45 and refer to himself as being old and cranky. It's all in the mind. It's all about the state of your heart, okay? For instance, now, you can be 100 years old and then feel and act as though you're 50. But then again, another person could be 40 years old and then he feels and acts as though he's 55. Very subjective. For instance, myself, I feel and I act as though I'm 18. You get the point. So it's all about the state of your heart. It's all about the state of mind, okay? So basically, you need to act the way you really want to feel, and it plays out. It's psychology, but it plays out in all ramifications. So if you feel as though you want to be or be looked upon as though you're 22, then act that way, carry yourself that way. It's all a state of mind. So I'm going to be talking about 10 there's loads of them, but I'll just major on 10 things you need to do whilst still young. Number 1, worrying about what people think about you. Seriously? Like, this is 2021. Who cares? Who gives a what anybody thinks about you? Is their problem. If they want to think XYZ about you, it's all on them. While you're busy doing all of that stuff, you're busy progressing with your life. I mean, in my head, it's like good riddance to bad rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, if they want to think crap about you, if they want to malign you or malign your character or downgrade you or do any of those things they do, I mean, that's what jobless people do. Which person would have his hands full or have her hands full and still has time to be talking about you or talking crap about you? You get my point. So anybody who does that is just somebody who is jobless. So if that's what they want to do, by all means, let them do what they want to do. But whilst they're talking, you're busy progressing. So don't worry about any of those things, because the more you keep worrying about it, the more it's going to get you down. The more you keep paying attention to their thoughts and all of that stuff, the more you're going to be putting more pressure on yourself, and you don't need that in your life. No, not right now. Number 2, let go of negative influences. If there's anybody in your life who anytime they come around, all they want to talk about is negative stuff, they have this negative energy that just permeates the room when they come. Listen, get rid of that. Life is too short. One of my mentors always says that life is short no matter how long it is. So if you have any of those people around you, get rid of them. Good riddance. You don't need that in your life. You need no form of negativity in your life at all. So any of those people, it's for your betterment. You're protecting yourself, you're protecting your heart, you're protecting your mental health. So get rid of bad influences in your life. Number 3, travel. I cannot say this enough. When you travel, you open up your heart. When you travel, you open up yourself to new experiences, new cultures, new people, new everything. You also reinvigorate yourself, you revamp yourself, you're able to become more creative, you're able to become more receptive to signs and all of that is around you. So by all means, travel. I know, you might be saying, really, is it that easy for everybody to travel? You're right, it's not that easy, but start somewhere. You could start with local travels. Don't just stay a full year and be stuck in one place. Go out. Go to a village, go to a neighboring place or community that you've never been to before. Learn about their way of life, learn about how they communicate, learn about their culture. Bring in new experiences, because trust me, it will help you. Then once you get to the point where you're able to fly or travel internationally, try and start to do it. At least every year you should be able to make at least one international trip once you can afford it. Trust me, it will change your mindset forever. Number 4, overcome some of your biggest fears. I mean, we have a lot of phobias. There are some people who are scared of heights. There are some people who are scared of, a whole lot of things. Try to overcome. It takes a lot to do all of that, okay? You don't expect that somebody who is scared of heights will just all of a sudden start going for bungee jumping or any of those things. You get what I mean? But you could make up your mind and give yourself a target and say, this is my fear. I'm going to try to overcome it. I'm going to do something within, even if it's say 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I'm going to do something particularly that will help me overcome this fear, that will help me overcome this phobia, whatever it is, because life is too short for you not to enjoy experiences as they come and as they offer themselves. So whatever it is you're afraid of, by the time you overcome that fear, you yourself would feel like a victor because you've stepped over something that has held you down for such a long while. So whatever your fears are or is, whether it's starting a new business, whether it's being independent, whether it's moving out, whatever it is, try to overcome it. Set a target and work towards it. Make sure you have support system around you that are positive, that would encourage you to do what it is you need to do, and you will end up a victor. Trust me when I say so. Number 5, I couldn't emphasize more on this, but appreciate your parents. Say when we are so little, we need our parents. They say when we become teenagers, we disregard our parents. They now say when we become adults, we even forget that they exist. And it's wrong. It's very wrong. Honor your parents, honor your mother and your father, so your days might be long. Okay? So if you appreciate what your parents have gone through to put you at the point where you're at, you'd know how important it is for you to honor them. And by honoring them, it doesn't mean you have to be all up in their face or their business 24/7. No, you could decide to, okay, you don't communicate with your parents. Okay, every week I'm going to try to at least reach out or send a message. Funny enough, if you keep doing that every week, they will now start looking forward to hearing from you. So much so that the day or the week you don't do it, you'll see that they're going to call you. It shows how much they appreciate it. Sometimes it's just the little things. It may not particularly involve money or anything, but of course, every now and then you still need to send or give gifts to your parents. But we need to learn to appreciate our parents even more. You never would really know how much sacrifices our parents are putting for us until you find yourself in those exact same shoes. So whilst you can, appreciate your parents, show them love, call them, check up on them, send gifts to them when you can, and just be a overall good sport. Number 6, give, and give unconditionally. There's this universal law that governs the terminology of giving. When you give, it'll come back to you. Away from the religious, side of it, generally it's just a notion that has been put in place by the universe, by God himself. As you give, it comes back to you. There's nobody who is out there and a giver who would never get blessed. You would always get blessed, okay? So give. And when I say give, money is a huge part of that, but I'm talking generally. Give your time, give your hug, give your smile, give a listening ear to somebody. Just give. Because you might just go to a point where it will be like, all these things, what did I keep them for? If it's material possession, nobody's going to go to the grave with any of those things. No. You're going to die and leave them eventually. So just share. Oprah Winfrey said whatever it is we had, it just felt better knowing that we could share it. It gives me fun to share. It gives me joy to share. I always would look forward to sharing with another person. Sometimes, yes, it might be inconvenience, and sometimes it might not be, you might not be in the best position or shoe to do that, but by all means, give, and keep giving conditionally, because that's the way to go. Start your own business. Don't be an employee for all of your life. I mean, I know how easy, so to speak, it might be doing a regular 9 to 5, okay? It's easy, you wake up, you report, you don't have to really bear or take risks. You're working for somebody at the end of the month or end of the week, you get your pay. Pretty cool, but try to also start your own business. Anything, that thing that you've always wanted to do, that has always given you joy, that you've always admired in other people, try to start your own, no matter how little it will be. Don't always be an employee. You cannot spend the whole of your life being someone else's employee. What about you? What about your dreams? What about your goals? What about your visions? No matter how good that job is or was or whatever, do you think you're ever going to be fully, fulfilled knowing that you didn't start something of your own? Think about it for a second, like no pressure, but just think about it for a second. So you just try and, put yourself together and know that, okay, at some point I will be able to start my own business. I'll be able to start my own thing, and I'm not going to spend the rest of my life just being somebody else's employee. Capish? Number 8, get a bit crazy, but in a good way. Get crazy, but in a good way. Try to do some little awkward things that you've not done before. I wanted to give an example with myself, but then I'll just be spilling all my secrets to everybody, and I don't think I should do that right now. There are certain things I've done in my life that I would, on a normal day, probably never do them. But I've been able to do them at least once, and there's something I'm still planning to do, just not for anything, just to have an experience of the fact that, okay, in my life I was able to do this, and it's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. You get what I mean? Okay, so get crazy, but in a good way. Be able to manage all of these situations appropriately, but you need to be able to do certain things. Life is all about experiences. If you don't gather these experiences, then what are you living for? So have a fulfilled life, but create these experiences, create these memories. That is what life is all about. Number 9, and I'm also speaking to myself, to learn a new language or two. I've been struggling. I don't know. I'm so good at a lot of things, but with languages, I suck with languages. Like, I know a little here and there, but I right now can't speak a second language very fluently, and it drives me crazy. But you know what? I'm not going to stop trying. I'm going to keep trying. But it's amazing, and it's a good thing if you're able to speak another language, or at least 2. My mom, for instance, speaks like 3. Same thing with my dad. But here am I, just stuck with English and a little bonjour here and there, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's pretty important we learn and we're able to speak a second or third language, because it helps with intercultural mix-up and all of that kind of stuff. Eventually you might find yourself somewhere, and being able to have learned, let's say French for instance, would help you, and also in this new generation and how jobs are being given and how people get hired, being able to speak another language might also put you in an advantageous position to get the job better than somebody else who can only speak one language. So it's really important that you also learn how to speak another language or 2. Finally, enjoy the little things. They might look or seem very insignificant, but these little small memories are the things that are going to shape your heart. Take a walk in the rain sometimes. You see 2 old people holding their hands and just being in love. Take a minute and just watch them from a distance and soak it all in. Watch the rainbow form. Watch the sun rise. Watch it set. Those little things will create memories in your life that would last forever. There are little things, they might seem very inconsequential, but they are like the most important. Like, it's inevitable. Things you cannot do without. Like, look at the air we breathe. Sometimes just stand in front of your balcony, or just use an elevator and go to the highest top of a building and just go out and just breathe. Just breathe and just take in life. Get inspired. Find a Zen atmosphere. Create one for yourself. You might not have the funds to go to the islands, or the Maldives and all of those places, or Santorini or whatever. But you could start creating your own happiness in the little way you can. So just enjoy the best of life, and know that these are certain points you should be able to do while you're still young, because you end up growing older and then unable to carry yourself, and you would wish you had tried to do some of these things when you were much younger. So I hope you enjoyed this episode today, and it's a wrap from here. Remember, make somebody smile today, because it doesn't cost you anything. Thank you.